Hey guys, and welcome back to Z3 Cubing. Today is my 30th Q&A. Alright, this is Q&A number 30 in the series where you guys ask me questions and then I go ahead and answer them in the next episode. I feel like this is some sort of great achievement getting to the arbitrary number of 30. And for those of you guys who are concerned about the title of this video, don't worry, it's not as bad as you think, but I'll be talking more about the future of this series later in the video. Alright, first question, which coincidentally has to do with firsts. What was your first magnetic cube? This right here is the first cube that I magnetized. Back in the day when magnets were first becoming a thing, you basically had to do everything yourself, so you had to buy the magnets and glue them individually into the cube. So this is a stickerless Volk 3. At the time my main was a black Volk 3, and so I tried it out on this cube to see what it would be like in my main, and I really liked it, and so then I put magnets into my main. Where do you edit your videos? About 5 feet that way on the same computer that's currently recording this audio. Can this question be answered on your About page? So the About page on my channel answers a lot of really common questions that are asked all the time on these videos. As for whether this question in particular can be answered on the About page, well, I guess you'll just have to go and see. Why are you solving a 9x9 while answering this question? Well, the thing is, I'm not actually solving the 9x9, I'm just undoing a couple of random turns that I did to make it look vaguely scrambled beforehand. Have you ever broken an expensive 3x3? Well, broken, not really, but this Gantt XS right here, which is like a $50 cube, it did get a little bit of sand in it, and it is a little bit scratchy now. Let's go ahead and play the clip to see how that happened. Why are you not in the camera while answering this question? Well, I mean, the camera is a pretty small object over there. I don't think I could get inside of it if I tried to. In fact, if you were inside of a camera while answering a question, I think that would be pretty concerning. Why are you not in the frame while you're answering this? Oh, you mean this frame certificate from 2015 of me getting 3rd place in Scube at a competition with an average of 9.62? I mean, it's pretty small too. I don't think I could fit inside of this either. Are you going to make another collection video? So the thing about just setting out my entire collection and then going through each cube and talking about it individually is that it just takes a ton of time. Just setting them up in the first place takes like an entire day. Doing the actual recording of the video takes at least an entire day, and it is indescribably exhausting. Editing the video probably takes multiple days. It's just dozens and dozens of hours by the time I'm done with one of those. So yeah, I made one for the beginning of this year, 2020, and I thought it would be the last one I would ever make just because it took me so long to recover from making the previous one at the beginning of 2018, 2 entire years. So yeah, honestly right now I'm still recovering from the 2021. It'll be at least until 2022 for the next one. I don't know what to ask, but I can add 5 seconds to your video. Amazing. Great contribution. When are you gonna get the 17x17? I feel like I've answered this question a bunch of times, like with the 17x17 or the 19x19, but I've still yet to buy any sort of higher order puzzle like that. So I think when a big puzzle comes out that's either cheaper than a lot of the previous ones, or bigger, like a 21x21, or that's cubic, which I think would be a lot easier to solve, then I would consider buying one. And now for a series of comments that failed at being answerable questions. Do you have a yes? Potentially Connecticut. Can you do a don't? If you could choose one puzzle to set a world record. Okay, that one started off well, but didn't really go anywhere. Hey, are you going to lube collection ever? Can't tell if this one is talking about if I'm going to lube my collection or if I'm showing you my lube collection. What was the hardest puzzle you've had to learn? I guess if you look at like every puzzle individually, there's not really one that stands out as being harder than all the rest of them, other than just like the first puzzle that you learn, so like a 3x3. And I guess if you're talking about like the most effort I put into learning how to solve a cube, with all the algorithms and stuff I learned on this thing, probably a 3x3. But in terms of like the hardest of building up, like you learn a 3x3, you learn a 4x4, you learn a 7x7. So I guess if you're looking at it incrementally, then it has to be like one crazy puzzle that uses aspects from a whole bunch of other puzzles to solve. This is one example that I learned how to solve recently, the 7x7 Morphics. And of course you need to know how to solve a 7x7 to solve this one first, but then to do that you have to know how to solve a 4x4 and a 3x3. You also need to know how to solve the Master Morphics, which requires a 3x3, and you also need to know like how to solve a 3x3 super cube, and then also a 4x4 and 5x5 super cube to get all these center pieces in the right spots. The algorithms on these center pieces are kind of crazy. Why does he always move his hands around? I don't know, would it be better if I just left my hands in one spot like this? You like that? Why do you stare at the camera while not moving your head? Kind of creepy. I don't know, would it be better if I did move my head while staring at the camera? You like that? What finger tricks do you use for a U-Perm? Okay, so I actually use all 4 of the algorithms that use R and U moves. That way I can do either U-Perm from the front or the back. And I actually had to go through recently and relearn all these algorithms with better finger tricks just because I was doing too many regrips. You should be able to do every one while only regripping one major time. You basically kind of have to go through, watch examples, experiment yourself to figure out the best way to do it. So here's kind of what they look like for me. And then regrip. The other one you kind of start awkwardly like this. regrip. And then the backwards ones are like this, regrip, and like this, regrip. Keep this question on your forehead. Okay, why is this question bouncing around your screen? I have no idea. Without using a Megaminx as reference, try guessing how many centers, corners, and edges one has. So obviously when I first saw this question, I guessed, and then I went and got a Megaminx and checked it. But basically my response was, obviously it has 12 centers, it's a dodecahedron. And then I knew that the number of edges and corners was something around 30. For some reason I thought it was the same number for both of them, and I went and checked. It does have 30 edges, but it has 20 corners. So kind of some weird round numbers, but yeah, kind of cool. Why would you censor the last word in this comment? Fork. What are your 5 favorite videos from your channel? So as always, it's hard to pick favorites, and it's especially hard to pick 5 different favorites, but what I will say is that I have a playlist called My Best Videos. It's one of the first things listed on the front page of my channel, and it has basically all of the best videos that I've ever made, in my opinion. So things like my collection videos that take hours and hours to film, US Nationals, those are some of my favorites, and some of my personal favorites that didn't get as popular, like solving a Rubik's Cube on all 58 14,000 foot peaks in Colorado. If you haven't watched that video yet, just stop what you're doing and watch that right now. What percentage of battery is your phone on? Interesting question. I have it sitting over here out of the way on the floor so it won't be too distracting when it starts buzzing like it did in the middle of the last question. It is at 79% right now, which is pretty good. I guess I haven't really done a whole lot on my phone today. And it's already 1:30. Man, I've been filming for almost 2 hours now. Actually, now that I have my phone out, why do you never update your Instagram? Honestly, this comment reminded me of the fact that I once made an Instagram account. So let's open up my phone here. Let's see. Z3Cubing Instagram. I'm not exactly sure how to find this. Oh, Instagram.com/Z3Cubing. Ah, cool. I uploaded one picture. 100,000 subscribers. That was a long time ago. That's funny. It still has my old black and white logo on there. Oh, I have 1,300 followers? Is that like good? That sounds like a lot. I don't know. Go follow me on Instagram. Link in the description. I'm still not going to post anything. Hi, Z3Cubing. Here is a question. 17 times 4 plus 65 divided by 86. No. Leave the comment on the screen. Yeah, okay, good. Plus 7,565. That's a good question. I would say that the answer is about 7,633.755814. Hey, put the comment back. What have you been doing in quarantine? Well, first I urge you to look up the word quarantine because I don't think it means what you think it means. But over the last 6 or I guess like 7 months now, wow, it's been a long time. Let's see, I graduated online high school, and that was fun. Spent half the summer climbing mountains. It's very easy to social distance at 14,000 feet. Let's see, I went to college, which basically means I changed the website that I go to log on to my classes. And I made a lot of videos, video every week. How often do you go to comps? Well, I used to go to like 3 to 5 cubing competitions per year, but I guess that's not happening anymore. Actually, believe it or not, I have actually been to 2 competitions already in 2020. They were both very early in the year, but I've also had like 3 or 4 of them been canceled that I was going to go to. What do you think cubing competitions will be like after the coronavirus? Well, I imagine within a number of years things will be mostly back to normal, but in the meantime, there are cubing competitions going on right now in like other countries where it's not as bad. But in the meantime, it's just going to be a lot of precautions, a lot of sanitization of things, mask wearing, of course, and I don't know, maybe we'll have outside cubing competitions. That would be pretty cool. And then how do you think the cubing community will have changed after the pandemic? My biggest fear is that just a lot of people will lose interest. Personally, I don't really do any speed solving at all unless I have a competition coming up. And so in the last 6 or 7 months, that means I just haven't really practiced a whole lot. So in addition to, of course, these short-term things like online competitions, which I guess will probably stay around, my hope is that the community as a whole will just not shrink too much and we can get back to growing as we were before once competitions kind of resume. Can you recite the alphabet backwards? Clock's ticking. Okay. ZYXWVUT SRQP ONMLK. The answer is no. That's all I remember. Can you create an algorithm? Okay, yeah, here we go. ZYXWVUT SRQPONMLK. Ta-da! Do you have a watch? Yes, I've worn a watch for basically like the majority of my life. I pretty much wear it 100% of the time, except when I'm making videos. So I guess from your guys' perspective, I wear it 0% of the time. But yeah, currently I'm wearing the Garmin Fenix 6. It's a really awesome smartwatch, especially for like GPS tracking and stuff. And yeah, I love it. That's why I have such a bad watch stand in all of my videos. Can you make a setup tour in this video only? So yeah, a lot of people ask for a separate video of a setup tour, but I don't really have a whole lot to show, so let's go ahead and do it right now. Alright, so here is my recording setup where you guys always see me. Table, chair, all the cubes that I was talking about. Lots of bright lights, camera, and a microphone. And over here is the computer where I do all my editing and stuff like that. And here is the audio recording that has now been going for, what, 4 hours? What are those things on your head? Oh, this? This is just a 6x6, don't worry. Remove the 6x6 from your head. No, I refuse. Can you cut your hair? Oh yeah, that's a good point. It is getting kind of long, but then I'd have to take the 6x6 off my head. Fine, I'll do it anyway. Ta-da! Are you a one-man army? Filming, thumbnail, editing, uploading. Yeah, I've always done 100% of the video making process myself. I think that's what makes sense for a channel of my size. And honestly, even if I wanted to expand, I think the biggest limitation is just the number of videos that I can come up with ideas for in a given week. I think doing one video per week just makes sense for my channel, and given that each video takes somewhere on the order of like 5 or 10 hours to make, it wouldn't make sense for me to not just do it all myself. And kind of related to that, why don't you post that much? Well, if you're saying that once a week is not that much, well then too bad, see the previous comment. Also, like, I'm a college student, so I don't have a lot of free time. But yeah, I feel like back in the day, uploading one video per week on YouTube was like actually pretty good. I don't know. I guess if you don't see one of my videos every single week, then make sure and subscribe and hit the bell thing. I don't know how that works, but do that. And I guess that's a nice segue into what subscriber count are you aiming for? So back when I hit 100,000 subscribers, it kind of felt like that was the last big milestone I would ever reach, but eventually I did hit 200,000, and now we're at over 250,000, which is pretty cool. I guess 1 million is still quite a long ways off, but 500,000, I mean, it's sort of kind of in the distance. Now at the current rate that my channel is growing, that would take years upon years upon years to get to, but there are some cubing channels out there, I'm looking at you U-Perm, who have just been growing like crazy recently, and I think that mostly has to do with kind of playing to the YouTube algorithm, making kind of catchy titles and thumbnails, and just really engaging content that's kind of applicable to a broader audience, and I think I would definitely like to move more towards that direction in the future. Why are your 1x1s always scrambled? Do you not know how to solve them? Okay, I guess it's time to admit, I still don't know how to solve a 1x1 Rubik's Cube. In fact, I pretty much have to go back to my own tutorial every time that I want to solve one, so most of the time I just leave them scrambled. What is your favorite question on this Q&A? My favorite question is this one right here. No, I'm kidding, it was a pretty mediocre one. What qualifies someone to become a cubicle tester, and did you approach them or did they approach you about becoming one? Now I think I was actually in contact with them for a totally different reason, like sponsoring a giveaway when they first asked me about becoming a tester, but I think that's kind of an unusual scenario because my channel was already so big at that point. If you go onto their website, you can find an FAQ page that has some information about testing products. There is a minimum subscriber requirement for YouTube, but the more important thing is effectively that you make consistent, quality, and honest content about presumably reviewing puzzles, and then you can reach out to them and see what they say. What inspired you to learn 134 digits of pi? Well, I think the last time that I recited them was on one of these Q&A episodes, so I guess making that video inspired me. But originally what inspired me was being bored in class in middle school. Can you bring your 8-year-old self back in real time? Now I'm not going to do any fancy editing tricks or anything, and unfortunately I don't have any good footage of me like solving a Rubik's Cube back when I was 8 years old and I first learned it, but I do have footage of me solving one puzzle when I was 8 years old, which is this thing, the Gordian's knot. Let's cut to that now. So here's a few clips from, I guess, a tutorial that I made about how to solve this puzzle. It's called How to Put Together a Gordian's Knot.mov, so I guess that's what I was aiming for. And I think I was gonna put this on YouTube, so I like filmed the whole thing. I filmed the whole separate video about how to take it apart, and then I looked at the videos and I realized that I didn't like the angle, I didn't like my face being in the camera, so I refilmed both of them with only my hands in the frame. So yeah, I guess this is my first ever video puzzle tutorial, made in 2011. Why do you always leave your chair after filming the video? Well, I mean, if I didn't leave my chair, then I'd just be sitting here, staring at the camera, and you guys would never see the video because I could never even turn the camera off. Which is better, GAN Air Pro or iPhone 11 Pro? So I just had to include this comment because GAN actually just released the GAN 11M Pro. So yeah, GAN 11 Pro versus iPhone 11 Pro. I don't have either, so I don't know. Alright, now onto the topic of the title of this video, and I'm going to try and keep doing this in Q&A format. Are you going to do anything special for your 30th Q&A? Well, I'm not sure if this is what you mean by special, but yeah, I'm gonna end the series. Goodbye. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm not officially ending this series here, although I'm not exactly sure that I want to continue making videos in this exact format in the future, and that's because I want to start making Q&As in a different format, which I'll talk about in a minute. Now, the primary reason for this is this question right here. How long does it take for you to make a Q&A? Now, this is a question that I've answered numerous times over the course of the series, but I feel like every single time it keeps getting longer. I think in the beginning it probably only took 1 or 2 hours to make a Q&A, then it became like 2 or 3 hours just to film it, and now, let's just say that I record on 64GB SD cards, and both of these are full of footage from this video alone. I am on my 3rd 64GB SD card. Each of these holds like 2 or 3 hours of footage. So I guess my standards of quality have gone up drastically since my first Q&A, which is a good thing for you guys, but not a great thing for me because it means I'm stuck repeating the same line over and over again every time I get one little word wrong, and yeah, it just keeps on taking longer and longer every single time. And speaking of that, how many subs did you have when you did your first Q&A? I had around 800 subscribers. So yeah, obviously there's a much different audience nowadays than there was back at the beginning of this series. And like I was saying earlier about wanting to make videos that appeal to a broader audience, well, yeah, Q&A videos definitely aren't that. They pretty much only apply to the people who really like my channel, which isn't a whole lot of people. They get pretty average view numbers. And also, why don't you do Q&As monthly like you said in Q&A 0? I actually don't remember saying that at all, but I think it should be pretty obvious from the answers of the last couple questions. Also back then, I was making pretty much daily videos. Now it's weekly videos, so it should make sense that it's 7 times less common. And finally, what do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years? Well, first, in terms of Q&As, I actually want to start doing some more well thought out live streams with Q&A as a major component of that. Now, I don't mean the impromptu Q&A that I've done on my previous live streams where I'm like reading the chat and like occasionally answering a question. I mean like real Q&As with the little question box in the bottom where I'm actually answering questions that I've thought about in advance, just like on this series, and there can be a live component to it too. But I think that'll solve a lot of problems with like the editing part of it, because if you mess up the words that you're saying on the live stream, then you just kind of keep talking like this. That is an example of something that I normally would have certainly cut out, and it probably would have taken me 10 more takes to get it right. But yeah, I'm going to try really hard to make this something special, something that's comparable to this series. And of course, there's going to be other components to it too, like, you know, solving puzzles. If somebody knows of a good alternative to Twist the Web, which was an old thing where you could kind of get in a room together and all solve puzzles and compete against each other, definitely let me know, because I would love to do that in a live stream. Now, I'm making no promises about how often this will be. I've been doing around 1 live stream per year on my channel already, so I'll probably at least try and double that to kind of match the frequency that I've been doing Q&As once every 6 months at maximum, hopefully. I feel like this is how most YouTubers do Q&As anyway, just as kind of a once in a while, one-off thing. The whole world of having like a dedicated Q&A series is kind of gone. So yeah, I hope this can be a positive change into the future. Make sure you guys let me know what you think in the comments. I'm sure you will. And real quick, going back to that initial question, what do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years? Well, I just started college, which means hopefully for the next like 4 years, I can keep on making videos like this like I have been going through school. But after that, I'm gonna get a real job, so I guess we're gonna have to wait and see what that means for the channel, whether or not it makes sense to keep on making videos. I hope I can keep on doing this in some capacity into the future, but yeah, we'll have to see. But for the time being, the next 4 years, I'm definitely gonna stick with it. My channel has definitely been stagnating a bit over the summer. I think that's mostly to do with the types of videos I've been putting out, just not the most exciting things. It's been a while since I've gotten like, you know, a 1,000,000 view video. So I guess that connects back to what I was talking about earlier with making, you know, more catchy, more engaging, more broad appealing videos, which is definitely what I want to keep doing into the future. Alright, that's been a lot of talking about my channel, so let's do one more fun question to finish things off. How many times did you say the word cube in this video? Well, you know, I'm not exactly sure at the moment. I haven't counted yet. So let's go ahead and cut to future me to figure it out. Oh, hi. This is long-haired version of yourself from yesterday. I think you might have accidentally edited in the past version of yourself instead of the future version. I don't even know what question he's trying to answer, but I don't know. I'm sure you guys can figure it out and let me know in the comments down below whatever the answer to this question is. And that's pretty much it for this video. I'll see you guys next time.